April 29th, 2025. Welcome in to another edition of Sportswrap Overtime. I'm Craig Loper, joined by Jeff Snyder, Brian Parsons. We are getting almost into May, guys. We just had the NFL draft. You see the graphic there. We're going to talk NFL draft, and we're going to start with some local guys, 757 products that heard their name called Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I should say Friday and Saturday. Our guys heard their name called, but the draft first round was Thursday.
4 guys from the Hampton Roads area that were drafted, and several others that were undrafted free agents, which could land them a spot on a squad as well,
right,
on a roster spot as well. 4 guys, and it starts with one of the guys that we highlighted in our draft special, and that is Mike Green.
Correct.
Who went to Lafayette High School in Williamsburg, won a state championship there. He went to UVA, transferred to Marshall, where he blossomed into one of the top defensive players in the country. He was a second-round draft pick of, how about this for a landing spot as a rookie?
Yeah.
Well, the Baltimore Ravens, Super Bowl contender. That's pretty good, right?
59th overall, so it's back half of the second round for sure. And he ends up in an organization that, by all means, is so reputable in the NFL. They have a reputation for developing pass rushers. They draft D linemen well. Like
a
they
reputation
know
for defense.
what they're doing.
Really,
yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
a lot of people on social media were like, "Oh man, the Ravens got another guy they can just develop into a monster pass rusher."
Yeah,
that the Ravens are so. You guys said this. They are so good at just finding these guys in the draft.
Yep.
Not even in the first round, not in the second round. Like they're just so good at drafting.
Yeah.
John Harbaugh knows exactly what he wants, and that's why the Ravens have been so successful for so long.
And their front office is one of the best in football, and it has been ever since they left Cleveland for Baltimore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The Browns fan over here. Mike Green led all of FBS in sacks, by the way. Let's put that out there.
Yeah.
And I think he was second or third in the nation in tackles for loss.
Yes.
So these are numbers. These are serious numbers.
Yeah, yeah. So Mike Green, quite the talent. Sort of, I don't want to call it a specialty player. I think that's kind of pigeonhole him a little bit. But, speed rusher type around the edge, get to the quarterback. I was looking up some articles even today. Baltimore said they did all their research on Mike Green, and they felt comfortable drafting him, right? So they felt good about his situation. He did have some off-the-field stuff then, but Baltimore said they're more than happy with his character, and they picked him for that reason.
Do you think they move him around, or is he locked in at that edge rushing position?
I think he's an edge rusher. Just flip him on the left or the right side, depending on what you're doing. I don't think he's an interior guy. He's not that. He's not that. No. He's not that. You don't got that size. You're
even
not
like the middle linebacker. No way.
No. He's not going to stand up. He'll stand up on the edge, but he won't stand up in a 2-point stance and be off the ball. He's going to play on the ball for sure.
Just a great opportunity though for this.
Yeah. Yep. No pressure to go in there and be this rookie that has to do stuff. Like, you just need to be a part of this team and do what you came here for.
Yeah. If I'm an NFL player and I get drafted by the Ravens in a mid-round, I know I'm going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
So the next pick, third rounder, was Portsmouth represent, Churchland High represent, Charles Grant.
Yeah.
Churchland High School, William and Mary, left tackle, one of the most coveted positions in all of sports. 2-time FCS All-American, third round to the Las Vegas Raiders.
99th.
Going to play with for Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
And Geno trying to block for Geno Smith.
Pete is a guy that comes into whatever program he's been, USC, Seattle. He tries to establish that identity right away. So what did they do at 6? They went and got the most physical running back in the draft, Ashton Genty. Comes back with a guy like Charles Grant in the third round. It's offensive line. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play defense. That's what Pete believes in, right? And then that Geno is they have that comfortability with Geno, so he's going to try to do just enough. But Pete, this is a Pete Carroll sort of draft, especially when they started off at the top.
Hey, you mentioned Ashton Genty. He went to he
Great Bridge Middle.
Yeah, Great Bridge Middle.
There you go. There you go. 2 Raiders picks. There you go.
He had a cup of Kool-Aid at Great Bridge Middle.
His father was Navy.
We can claim him. Come on.
Year and a half in Chesapeake.
Charles Grant I think is my favorite story of all of our local picks. I mean, just the fact that he took the FCS route. He probably could have transferred if given the opportunity. I'm sure people were knocking on the door to get him to come, but he stayed and got that William and Mary degree,
right?
Which is a good thing to have in your back pocket.
Very valuable.
Yeah, indeed. And Churchland High School. So,
He's probably a swing tackle type. Who knows what their plan is? Do they kick him inside? Do they swing tackle him? You're hard pressed to find a 3rd round pick or any guy really to come in and just be like an anchor, left tackle, right tackle right away. Those guys are rare. But
they're
going to work them in.
That's where you find those guys that could be your starter for 5, 6, 7 years. Look at a guy like Morgan Moses out of UVA that played for Washington forever. He's still in the league. I can't believe it.
I worked in Louisiana for a long time. Teron Armstead was like a 5th round pick out of Pine Bluff. He was a premier left tackle in the league for a decade. So
crazy.
they find him. Keandre Lambert Smith was next. Fifth round pick, 158th overall to the Los Angeles Chargers. He spent how many years at Penn State? 3 years at Penn State, 1 year at Auburn. Went to Maury High School, and this was
Doree McCain's first draft pick.
There we go. That's actually, good point. So Doree McCain's first draft pick. Keandre Lambert was the anchor of the 2019 Maury team that won the state title, went 15-0. We were looking at some projections, Brian and Jeff, like we weren't even sure if he's going to, like he was on the cusp, right?
He was.
And so fifth round, not bad.
And you saw those numbers he put up there.
Yeah.
Man. He was like going to be almost was the first Auburn receiver to get 1,000 yards in a season in like 20 years or something like that.
Yeah.
They like his speed. They like his size.
Yeah.
He's
Jim Harbaugh.
Chris Beatty, I believe, is he still the
Oh, that's a good question.
or did he go to the
I can't remember.
or did he go to the Bears?
We talked about it this offseason. I think he went to the Bears.
I think he might have gone to the
Yeah,
Bears,
I think he went to the Bears. Yeah. So
forget I
Keandre,
said that.
Yeah, Keandre getting a chance with Jim Harbaugh. You know, he's going to expect you to probably grind it out, play special teams, block, and also, like you said, speed guy. Lad McConkey is kind of their premier guy. I can't even name another receiver on the Chargers outside of that. So Lad McConkey and Keandre Lambert-Smith are the main guys that I know because they got rid of Mike Williams and Keenan Williams.
Right. Yeah. So maybe there's an opportunity there. You know, not a lot of big names.
Right.
In that part of LA, at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be a big target for Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Right.
And he needs targets.
Yeah, no, for sure. So Keandre went in the fifth round. Sixth round pick, Antoine Powell-Ryland, sixth round, 209th overall to the Philadelphia Eagles. Antoine Powell-Ryland from Portsmouth, and but also played high school ball in Chesapeake, right?
But he
Churchland
did.
and then Indian River.
He did play at Churchland. It's
Oh,
another Churchland guy on the board. How about that? Go Truckers.
Churchland 3 years, Indian River for a year. So, you know, Portsmouth gets to claim him. Coming out of Virginia Tech, where he had a great season. I think he was second in the nation in sacks.
Yeah.
As an edge rusher. Talk about another great franchise to go to as a defensive lineman, the Philadelphia Eagles. Coincidentally enough, if you want to connect the dots and you think about Antoine Powell-Ryland, who does he replace for the Eagles? Josh Sweat.
That's
Who's
right.
a Chesapeake
Yeah,
native.
yeah.
Because he's off to Arizona. So Antoine Powell-Ryland, perfect spot to go. They rotate those D linemen in there. He's gonna have a contribute to them.
Coming off a Super Bowl win and you get drafted by them.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a good situation. You know, you're going to a good situation. You don't have to worry about coaching. You don't have to worry. You just have to worry about putting the work in and getting your spot on the roster.
He was a guy considered undersized when he came out, right? The numbers were there, but his tangibles were, like I said, he got short arms or something. You know, that's what they're going to be hypercritical. So maybe not as high as he would have been if he had 3 more inch arms or something like that. But regardless, you're going to a great organization. You're going to get opportunity. Howie Roseman tends to hit on his draft picks. I don't care what round it is. So Howie Roseman knows the talent.
He's a hungry young man too. I think he's putting in the work, and I think he's got a good attitude and a good head on his shoulders. We had a few undrafted free agents from the area. These guys. Craig, explain to what an undrafted free agent is and what that means.
So if you think of it like if you're a college football fan, it would be a preferred walk-on spot. You're not yes, you have to try out for the team, but you're coming in as a preferred person who was on the cusp of being drafted. Like you get a contract as an undrafted free agent to possibly you get a signing bonus and a contract as a UDFA, right? Compared to the guys we're going to talk about next, rookie minicamp invites, you're not guaranteed anything.
Right. So Tyler Neville from Lafayette,
yes,
who went to Harvard and then UVA as a tight end.
Going to the Cowboys.
Undrafted free agent, and he got a $10,000 signing bonus.
Yes.
And from what I read, $90,000 guaranteed towards his first year contract.
Yeah, UDFA, you have a little bit more opportunity. They can still cut you, but maybe you're a practice squad guy at the end of the day. Lamarion James goes to Jeff's Cleveland Browns, the defensive back from TCU that we talked about, also a UDFA. So the Browns maybe liked what they saw, but didn't see him as a draft pick.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to have him in.
And you need some secondary help. We were just talking about that the other day.
Absolutely.
And we got a little bit of a theme here on today's Sportswrap OT. Another undrafted free agent was wide receiver Daquan Felton, who started at Norfolk State and then transferred to Virginia Tech. 6'5" target. He went to high school at Churchland High School.
It's 3 Churchland guys in the same draft.
Churchland is dominating the charts here today.
I am Churchland's coaching staff. If I am administrators, I am touting that as much as I can.
Oh, definitely touting that for sure.
6'5", a big target. I think he could do something with them. And then a couple of other guys. ODU had tight end Pat Conroy, was an undrafted free agent with the Raiders. Offensive lineman Santana Saunders, an undrafted free agent with the Colts. And a mini camp invite. This one's a little wild card.
Rookie mini camp.
Rookie mini camp.
Yeah.
Hollis Mathis from William and Mary. Craig, what position did he play? I don't know.
All of them.
Did he play running back?
All of them.
Sure. Did he play wide
Quarterback.
receiver? Yeah.
Wide
Did he play
receiver.
quarterback? You bet he did.
Yeah.
He played all these positions. So he's a versatile guy that, I mean, what do you think a guy like him could do with the Steelers? Mike Tomlin can find guys like this.
Mike Tomlin, man, using those William and Mary connections to maybe find a gem, a diamond in the rough. Hollis Mathis, the second player in NCAA Division I football history to rush for 1,000 yards, pass for 1,000 yards, and receive 1,000 yards. So weird. Sort of
Hollywood
unique.
Mathis.
So Ollie Jennings goes from ODU to Virginia Tech. He got a rookie minicamp invite to the Green Bay Packers. So we'll see what happens with Ali. I believe we're up against a break, Jeff.
Yes, we are.
And we're going to come back with more, talk about the Commanders' NFL draft picks. Coming right back. Are we back?
Welcome back.
Okay, we're back. Welcome back to Sportswrap Overtime. We just got done talking about 757 local connections that were drafted into the NFL over the 3-day draft. Now we're going to talk about the Washington Commanders and their 2025 draft. We watched the first round. We were about to go on the air when the Commanders were making their pick.
Yes.
We were on the air.
Yeah.
29th overall. What a difference a year makes for the Commanders, right? Second overall in 2024. 29th overall in 2025 after coming off an NFC Championship appearance. They picked someone from my alma mater, Josh Connerly Jr., a tackle from Oregon, a third-team All-American. Here he is at his press conference. Started the past, I think, like 24 games at Oregon at right tackle. Left tackle. And this is a move to protect Jaden Daniels, guys.
Yeah, well, it's who knows how he's going to turn out, but I like what they did. Protect this quarterback.
Yeah.
They made the trade in the offseason. They gave up the third-round draft pick for the
Laramie Tunsil.
Laramie Tunsil. So they're beefing up that line.
Yep.
You got the number 2 pick last year. Protect Jaden Daniels at all costs, I think is what every Commanders fan would say, because this could be a 10-year run where something special happens. I don't know much about the guy, I'll be honest.
Yeah, of course. I don't know anything. I mean, I just watched his tape. We got some draft reports up here. Like you said, protecting quarterback Jaden Daniels. Let me read off a couple stats. This report says it'd be disappointing if he doesn't start as a rookie. He's probably going to be moved. They called it right after the draft. They said he's going to be moved to right tackle or right guard, depending on how Sam Cosmi comes back. Remember, he's coming off a torn ACL, so they need interior help. They got the guy Brandon Coleman out of TCU last year in like the 3rd or 4th round, who played right tackle all year. So they'll rotate him in. The scouting report on Conley is a solid player, very consistent, healthy. The ability to pass block. I think he's more of a pass blocker than sort of a run, powerful grinder. Okay. I guess that's what they would say. Let me read a couple stats here. Let me see if
you can't have too many offensive linemen.
You can't.
You got to really,
especially
as you said, shuttling these guys in and out of the lineup.
Especially with a quarterback like Jaden Daniels, who likes to move, who has weapons down the field. If you give him time to throw, he's gonna make magic. I saw it in person myself this year when he played the Browns. I know he was playing the Browns, but the Browns still had JOK on the defense, who also picked him off in that game.
Oh, okay.
But Jaden Daniels is so good, and getting Laramie Tunsil was huge for them.
Tunsil's locked in at left tackle. Adam Peters said that.
Yeah.
So is Connerly the kind of guy, if somebody goes down at any of the positions, is he a guy that can kind of step in there and carry the load?
That's what they say. And he can play anywhere. Adam Peters said he'll play everywhere on the line if it comes down to it, except for center. He's not playing center. So he's playing left guard, right guard, or right tackle.
I can see him at right tackle for sure.
Yeah.
Round 2, they went to bolster the defensive backfield.
Had to, right? I mean, this has been an issue for Washington for the past 4 years.
Yeah, it really has been.
Emmanuel Forbes didn't work out. Marshawn Lattimore hyper injured last year.
Let's see if second-round draft pick Trey Amos works out. He out of Ole Miss, but also I would imagine we saw him play against Old Dominion when he played 3 years
for
Louisiana Raging Cajuns.
Yes,
in the Sun Belt. So
we probably did. We probably didn't know his name back then, but these Washington is drafting needs, right? When you're picking that low per se, right? You're drafting something you need. It's not always about best available or the talent, because you got a good core group of guys. So this is a guy where you need him to play and you need him to develop, right? So looking at their secondary, I'm not sure if he's an outside corner. I don't know if he's more of a nickel guy. If you look at some of the pictures, he's long. He looks muscular. He could be like a true kind of cornerback back there. So he played in the SEC for a year. And let's see, before transferring to Ole Miss, he ranked 7th in the nation with 13 pass breakups last year and led the team with 3 interceptions. So a little bit of production there.
So round 4, they go to the Hokies.
And
get a wide receiver. Jalen Lane, 5'10", speedy receiver there, and just another target for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, they say definitely that's his specialty, speed. 4.34 in the combine, 3 years at Middle Tennessee State, and then the couple years at Virginia Tech. So you want to give Jaden Daniels a downfield threat along with Terry McLaurin. This guy seems to be. I think he had a good game against Old Dominion too. We were going through some of the pictures. He had a few catches against Old Dominion down there in Blacksburg this past year.
Yeah, not too many highlights for the Monarchs in that particular game.
Right. So yeah, here's some of his plays right here, but I don't have his measurables in front of me, unfortunately. He doesn't look like too big of a guy, but like I said, he's sort of a speedster, maybe a unique little utility piece.
4.3, 40 in the 40.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
So again, this was a 4th-round draft pick. They did, Washington traded away their 3rd-round pick for the left tackle
for Tunzel. So going to Blacksburg to get Mr. Jalen Lane. We'll see how he ends up. 6th round, a linebacker out of UCLA. Let me see if I can get this right. Kane Madrano. They're going to need some linebacker depth. Bobby Wagner's getting a little bit older for them. Frankie Louvu had a great year for them, and he's kind of solidified in there. But
he did. He had a great season.
Some of these positions, it's like kind of what the Eagles do. Like the positions you need depth, you just go get the guys for depth too. Mm-hmm. Defensive line, offensive line, linebacker, right? Because there's 3 linebackers on the field any given play. There's 4 defensive backs on the field. There's 5 linemen. So you want to try to take shots at these guys if you can.
It's a good problem to have.
Good problem to have.
Does it feel weird, Brian, being a Commanders fan, having this problem?
Well, after 30 years of misery, it does. It does. It does feel strange.
Yes.
The 7th-round pick, they went with a running back. I mean, a lot of times that's hey,
taking a flyer,
pretty good running back. Let's see what he's got.
Taking a flyer on,
and
you
can get a good running back in the 7th round. The serviceable guy. I think Alfred Morris was a 6th-round pick, I believe,
Alfred
out of
Morris,
FAU, and he played.
Arian Foster back in the day was a 5th, 6th-round guy. He had a couple good seasons.
The Commanders also signed a kicker this week, folks. They signed Matt Gay from the Colts. They cut Zane Gonzalez. Get this. This is the 8th kicker that Washington has signed in 14 months.
Unbelievable.
8th kicker in 14 months.
You guys sound like the Browns.
They used 4 kickers last year. He was Gay was really good at beyond 50 yards a few years ago. He's kind of cut that down to like 50%. He's 31 years old. It's a 1-year contract. We'll see how that goes. But you know what? You need a solid kicker when you're a team like the Commanders that every game seems to come down to the last play of the game, essentially, almost every time it seems.
And they had Seibert. Seibert was a good kicker for them for a few games, and he sort of fell off. So, yeah, man, just, with the kickers, bring them in until you find your Adam Vinatieri or something like that, right, who's solidified in that spot for a long time.
I feel like you just get Adam Vinatieri and have him for 20 years, and everything would be great.
Bring him on to kick like 30 and in. He could probably still make like 30 and in-yard field goals. So, in terms of the draft, what do you guys think of Green Bay? The presentation was pretty cool. They did a good job.
Yeah, it was nice. I thought it was nice. Yeah.
Unique.
Yeah.
No snow on the ground.
Yeah, they got
fans seem to love it. Their 1st-round pick from Texas, the wide receiver, came out on stage, was hyping him up, even though he did not say the phrase correctly. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
He said he was yelling on stage. He's like, "Let me get a go Green Bay on 3." You're supposed to, their chant is "Go Pack, go."
Go Pack.
So he was all messed up.
I think it really would be cool if Washington D.C. could land the draft and you have it on the National Mall lawn.
Got to do it,
and
have to do it.
And when we come back, we'll talk more about Washington and things.
We're coming back, talking. You told him to talk about D.C. and what's going on up there. The RFK Stadium site latest next on Sportswrap Overtime.
Very exciting.
Welcome back to the Sportswrap, everyone. April 29th, again, 2025. We are wrapping up this edition of Sportswrap Overtime with the latest on the RFK Stadium site. The Commanders, Washington, D.C., made the official announcement yesterday on the 28th that they want to erect a new stadium at the old RFK site. I don't know, what is this, 80% of the way finished? They still got some steps, but Roger Goodell was there. This was a big announcement. You would think they want to take one swing at this thing and they don't want to mess it up.
There are some steps. D.C. politics are no kidding around.
Right.
So there are some loopholes to go through. This is not a slam dunk.
Not a done deal.
As of yet, but I would say the probability
is very high.
Is extremely high.
If you're making an announcement like this, you think you're gonna get this done.
The thing that scares me though is the monumental sports situation.
That's what scares me. The Capitals and the Wizards had a very similar announcement.
That's what only. And so I want to have more optimism.
There's no backup plan. They don't want to go back to Landover. They're not going back to Landover. This is where it's going to be. And I think anybody that's been a fan of this team for a long time knows this is the most logical thing in the world. I think 5 years after they left the RFK side and went to FedEx, everybody said, well, how do we get back there?
Yeah. Look at the old shots. Here we go.
One of the great things, too, people think about, oh, my gosh, this is going to cost the public so much money. Well, the owner, Josh Harris, is putting up about the $2.8 billion.
75%.
Yeah.
75%.
The city of DC will be on the hook for infrastructure improvements, but that's kind of the way a lot of these deals go. This is going to be a big for the community. There's going to be mixed-use developments. There's going to be an athletic complex for fields for youth. Yeah. The stadium, they want 200 events a year. We're talking the Super Bowl. We're talking the Final Four. We're talking the college football playoff. We're talking WrestleMania. We're talking the major concerts of the day.
Right.
How will the Commanders make all that money back? Well, they're controlling the stadium, and they're going to control all of that revenue. They will make the money back. Yeah. This is going to be a win-win for everybody. I mean, I get emotional looking at this. That was at a very special place to me. I saw many Redskins games there. I saw the Nationals there. I saw the Grateful Dead there 5 times. I saw the Rolling Stones there. I saw U2 there twice. It's an amazing location. It's on the water. Me personally, I thought the stadium was fine as it was.
When they left?
Yeah, but everybody wants all this
61 to 96. Oh, my gosh. Here's a question for you. Now, this is what I did not know until yesterday, based on all a roof on it. How do you feel about that?
I love it.
You do like it? Okay, I didn't think you were going to like it.
Well, you're not going to get the
you're not going to get the Final Four, right?
Super Bowl without a roof.
Yeah, no,
and these big name concerts, you're not going to get without a roof these days.
I saw a transparent roof. Initially, they were calling it a glass roof, and then they said transparent. Like, is that the official that transparent roof? That's kind of unique.
Oh, that's strictly a rendering.
Oh yeah,
this is rendering.
This is not the design by any stretch.
They said a transparent roof so you could see the Capitol,
the monuments, because the monuments are all lined up perfectly.
Right. So
I went to the last game at RFK against the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay,
and we took a bus up.
Wow.
And as we're leaving, we're in the stadium, and like people are kind of taking the stadium apart. Basically, like people are walking out with rows of chairs.
Yeah,
right.
So
sounds familiar.
I got excited, and I kind of like stepped on a seat, and the bottom part broke, and I was like, wow, this is conveniently just broke right off after I stomped on it.
Yeah,
It's crazy. So I was walking out with it, and then I saw there was the cops were stopping people that had all the chairs, and there was like a pile of the chairs. So I kind of hid mine under my jacket. Onto the bus. People were like, man, it's about time. We're waiting on you. Then I pulled the seat out of my jacket and held it up like this, and the bus went crazy. Cheering.
That's crazy.
That seat is on my wall.
December 1996, last game there. I did the numbers. It was like 200 total games there, 11 playoff games, 5 NFC championships. 1961 to 1996, that stadium was active. And so now it's a shell of itself. You see the rust.
I was there when Art Monk broke the all-time receiving record.
Yeah,
it was against the Denver Broncos on a Monday night, and he was getting close to it. And the Skins were blowing out the Broncos, and but Gibbs was like, "No, let's go for it, man. We're getting Monk the record tonight." And they kept going to him and kept going to him and kept going to him, and he got the record. That was pretty cool.
I'd be very curious about the process over because they say 2030 is the goal, right? So you would think with all the manpower and all the brain trust that by 2030 this would be up. My question is, how do they're not because they can't blow it up? You said, Brian, you can't blow it up.
What I understand, they have to take it apart for environmental reasons, but. Because this thing is on the fast track.
Yeah. Right.
And if it is built by 2030, you have to, in order to host the Super Bowl, you have to play in the stadium for 2 years. So the target date for the Super Bowl for Washington would be 2032 at the earliest.
February 2033, right? 2033. 2032 season. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. 2032 season.
Yeah. Crazy, man. No, I've never been there. Obviously, I've only ever been to Landover. So the Landover switch, it's like, Was FedEx ever really nice? Did people like FedEx when they first opened it?
No.
Or people have always had the complaints for that long?
I can remember when we covered the first game, and it's just like something about this rubs me the wrong way.
It was
dirty.
Maybe it was it didn't feel dirty. It was but the plastic seats, it just felt antiseptic and it had no soul.
Yeah.
And Washington D.C. deserves the best stadium in the country. I've always said that.
Yeah.
They deserve the best.
I think parking's going to be an issue for this, right?
Because it's going to be a mixed-use development. Right. It used to not be a problem because it was all the parking space, but all that's going to be developed. They said basically there's not going to be places to tailgate.
They want people to use the metro, get to the games,
and garages,
right? And garages,
and then they want you to go to the mixed-use developments and spend all your money there.
Yeah,
I Part of me thinks they're going to have to set up a tailgating area, like a grass slider.
Yeah.
Because Washington is notorious for their tailgating.
So the next step that I saw was it has to get through DC Council. That is the next step right away. So
yeah,
it's gonna be some time, but I think I don't think Roger Goodell shows up without.
We're out of it.
We are out of time.
We're done.
Okay, we're gonna sign off. Thanks for watching Sportswrap Overtime. For Brian Parsons and Jeff Snyder, I'm Craig Loper. We'll see you next time.